Yo guys, this is my guide for Arena, how to get better, how to get better results in Arena, what are the best cards, what are the best classes for Arena. You're all going to find out right now. Starting off with, the common concept of luck versus skill. Lots of people talk about luck, the RNG in Arena. It does exist, because you're not able to choose your class, you're not able to choose your cards, it can be really fucked up sometimes. And I understand that. And sometimes you will have bad drops and this will affect your performance, but in most cases you're able to at least build somewhat suboptimal deck. I think there's always some good choices, but it always depends. Like sometimes the draft can be really brutal, and I get that, and it's not really balanced in many ways because not all the players can have a draft with a legendary card. I think there would always and should be a certain amount of rares and legendaries you can get on the draft, and this would be always the same for each player. I don't really big fan of RNG overall, but this is how it works. And first thing I really want to talk about is mana curve. The first 3 turns are incredibly important. You have to pick the cards that, like, not all the 2 mana cards are really equal. Like Iron Beak Owl is pretty crappy because it can get killed by Mage's Fire. It just gets fucking killed all the time unless you have a taunt card to combo with it. That's his problem. This card. So there's many other cards that have better stats than him. Like Acidic Swamp Ooze is pretty good one. It breaks the weapon. It's good for against certain matchups. Then there's like Amani Berserker, and there's these cards that cost really low. The 3 turns are the most important things you need. Like, this is important. Like, you have to have the best startup cards. The first 3 turns decide everything about the game. Like, whether it will be lose or you win, everything is decided on those first 2 drops, whether it will be coin toss or whatever. You have to have the best cards on the startup. I think filling up from mana cards from 1 to 4 is really important to have very solid cards there. Don't pick late game cards and you're never able to play, because the early game will give you the edge to have the control of the deck, control of the board, and this will affect everything. But there's the CC, and there's Rogue in particular has second type of curve where many of Rogue's top commons are like 1 or 2 mana, and this is really good. And we have a card like Sprint, which gives you 4 cards, and this is really good for many situations to give up the keep up the advantage over the board. But early game decisions are everything you need. And this is going to be, I don't build very high mana cost decks. These don't work in Arena very well. The next thing I want to talk about is, of course, the tier list. This is the important part. Like, the whole classes are break down to 3 different classes. There's the tier A, tier B, and tier C. Tier E is Mage. There's no one else in the thing. Mage is just the best class you can always choose, and you should always choose Mage before anything else. Mage has good AoE cards, has the best spells pretty much, very high damage target spells, AoE spells, and CC overall. And Water Element is like highly cost efficient item, highly cost efficient card overall. And Mage's passive is probably one of the strongest ones. I think it has quite much edge over certain decks. That's why it's tier A. It's better than everything else right now, and it has the biggest high ratios on the whole game, and that's why you should always pick Mage. The tier B consists Rogue, Priest, Warlock, Paladin, Warrior, and Druid. Priest and Paladin are pretty easy to play. They have a lot of these buff cards with increased health, increased damages, and gives stuff like that. These can be applied to any units on the game. And this is why they're pretty easy to play and pretty adaptable for many different compositions of the decks. That's why you kind of want to choose them. Warlock and Druid, Warlock, Barrier, and Rogue are kind of more harder to play. They need more comboing, they need more structured decks, but they're still pretty good because I talked about the Rogue's mana efficiency. Like the best cards he has is like low cost mana cards. So, you know, and warrior is pretty decent too. Depends on, his kind of also depends on the what card order he gets. And then we have tier C, which has shaman and hunter. Why they are on the C? Shaman, I think like it's really based on the certain cards that he needs. Like Bloodlust is the core card of every deck in my opinion with shaman, because you will be spamming totems quite much, and that Bloodlust card is so good with it. But if you don't get Bloodlust, well, for tough luck, you're out of luck, because you need the card, because otherwise you won't be efficient with your build. This is why it's really bad. Hunter is in very same position where he is all based in beast cards, and if you don't get beast cards, you're kinda, you know, you're kinda in shit shape, because Kill Command, a lot of other cards, under own cards, are based on beasts, and he doesn't really get many benefit using like humanoid cards or normal cards. He just needs beasts much. These are the best for his deck, and that kind of ends up the tier list. Just putting some closing thoughts: do not build like Murloc decks, because you can't really know if you get other Murlocs. Don't build Murloc deck in Arena. And same goes for a deck like I don't remember the Auchenai. Fucking I hate it. I forget the name, but there's the card that I think there was a mage card that gets bonuses from secrets. That's a good example too. Don't take that type of cards that need real like special conditions. Like there's the other card that requires healing and it gets like 1 damage from each unit healed, but this requires heals on your team, etc. So raise the puppy, so to speak, kind of strategy doesn't work in Arena, because you can't choose which card will be ending up in your deck. And this ends up my short and, well, not too short guide. Stay tuned for more Hearthstone stuff, and share, like, and subscribe to my channel for more. See ya.